Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got to look at the Soviet cruiser Tier 7 Riga. There's delightful Tikana, as we call him in the business. If you got access to him, it makes the accuracy on this quite a bit better. Accuracy's pretty wonky, no doubt about it. There's the armor scheme, note the really strong nose there. Icebreaker, as they call it. Very heavily armored lower portion, lighter armored further up. So you need to understand that. When you're playing the Riga, you're not an invincible nose in, and you need to understand that when you're playing against the Riga, where's the aim point? Here we got center spawn here on this map, hotspot. We gotta try and pick one island or the other to play closest to. We want to be able to protect our sides in the ship if we play close to an island, and here we're going to be playing the island by sea there. That'll eliminate anyone who's going from the south to sea or even the center spawn over toward the west of the map, prevent them from getting crossfires, hopefully. That's the idea. Okay, so this ship, heavily requested during my streams. Traditionally, haven't been a huge fan of it, but I went back and reviewed my initial review of this ship, and the conclusions were the same. Basically, kind of a pretty strong brawler, which is actually something I really enjoy doing. So I'm not 100% sure why I kind of lost sight of this ship. I think I kind of ground out the lines when I was covering it initially, and then usually I had like a break after that, and then the knowledge of what it is there to do was kind of lost on me. I mean, I've always kind of known, you guys always remind me in the chat, of course, in the streams, but we'll see it in action here. First up, though, Fletcher dropping a smoke for his teammates. Okay, admirable. I wouldn't ever really do that unless I was in a division with someone I knew they were going to utilize it, and the ships we see behind them are battleships. They're going to have a hard time doing it, or utilizing the smoke, because when they fire their guns, they're basically spotted at full distance anyway. Fletcher, though, is moving out of it. Classic destroyer mistake. Gunning ships in the open when you're not covered here. Not a good idea. Not a good idea against any ship. Cruisers, worst idea. Radar cruisers, worst possible idea. Okay, don't rush ships with your guns blazing in destroyers. That's not how it works. And yes, I'm a huge advocate of destroyers using their guns. But typically the players that are still learning destroyers either use them too much or too little. Okay, there's his attempt at killing us with the torpedoes. All we do is move forward a little bit. Looks like we might have widespreads or not. We won't quite give them the sound effects, since those American torps at range can spread out a little bit, but nevertheless, not a threat to us there. And now what do we got going on here? Well, we got a battleship, a Colorado over there. We got a Fletcher, who we can potentially radar as well, and I think we're going to go ahead and pop that right there. We're, number one, finding the Caracciolo for ourselves to shoot. Number two, illuminating the Fletcher. And this is something you need to understand as a cruiser player. Even though you might not have the shot, if you activate the radar like we do here, we don't have a shot at the Fletcher. If your teammates are willing to respond and actually tag the guy, well, it's still valuable, okay? It's not going to be as valuable if you have a shot, because there's more damage going in and you're guaranteed to be shooting the destroyer that you're hunting. But nevertheless, and once again, that's important to remember in divisions. Okay, here we are, though. We're kind of pointing in here, firing the guns, and we're going to be targeting the turrets through these brawls. This is how you want to brawl when you get close in with battleship v battleship, or in certain situations like Alaska v battleship, Alaska v cruiser, where we're getting these kind of nice, slower moving duels where, the intent isn't to necessarily whack the enemy for huge amounts of damage, but we're trying to win the trades, which is basically how you want to conceptualize a battle between two ships dueling. We're trying to trade each other's HP. We're trying to reduce his ability to lower our HP, and we're going to continue to do that over and over again by knocking out these turrets. Keep an eye on that as the sequence unfolds here. Basically, that's all we're going to be doing. And look, this is pretty good accuracy. Now, whether it's going to look this good with Makarov or Kuznetsov, that's to be determined, but I got Delightful and I use him there. And I think a lot of you guys that are Riga specialists, he must have been a Halloween guy, I think. Anyway, use him if you got him. He's kind of designed for this in the Stalingrad, which is kind of a bigger, tougher, legendary version of the Riga, which I don't currently have access to. Anyway, Caracciolo, he's trying to, number one, he's moving into us. He's going to be hitting us with these secondaries, very dangerous. We want to be keeping an eye on that. We're going to just continue to back up here. If he didn't have a strong secondary threat, perhaps we would be moving into him, but not likely with multiple ships behind him. We want to increase the distance between us and them as well. Boom, there goes a gun permanently, the other one temporarily, and we're going to continue to attack these turrets. So we've just reduced his ship. I think he's got 4 turrets, if I remember, in all. We've reduced his possible damage per minute output by 25% there. And if he's nose in on us, which he's going to want to be doing often when he's brawling here, that's a 50% reduction. Okay, so he should be targeting my guns as well. And the beauty of doing that is if he misses high, it hits superstructure. If it misses low, it hits the nose or hitting the guns. Okay, so that's kind of the aim point that he should be looking for. But look at these. We're continuing to snipe these turrets, knock them out once again. We're going to be calling the Colorado. Hey, but look at this on the map, dude. You got a perfect broadside on Caracciolo. It looks pretty juicy. Okay, but we got good control in the east. Team won pretty handily over there. We're up. Got 3 casualties on the reds, 1 on the blue. We're fine doing what we're doing here. We're slowing down the push, harassing this Caracciolo. And when he puts broadside like that, we're going to go ahead and take a whack. But not huge damage typically. I think that was kind of the main drawback in terms of me liking this ship. Long term or medium term was every time I played it, it's like, well, yeah, the damage isn't super, but it does what it does, and it does what it does well, okay? Now, if it had torpedoes, which it doesn't have, it would be extremely dangerous. Imagine if we're sending those fish off during these engagements as well. We wait for him to shoot or knock the gun, flip a set of torps out there. Now, if he's going to keep pushing at us, well, you're in serious trouble. Doesn't have the torps, luckily for the opponents, but, you're kind of better off the closer in you can get, okay? Because the closer you're in with these targets, assuming they don't have a lot of support, especially if they're going to be hitting you in the sides, then the shells are going to be coming in flatter towards you. That means they're not going to be able to access the top part of that nose and potentially drop into the citadel for big damage. So you see we knocked out one of the rear turrets a moment ago, and we continue to harass, and boom, there goes the second front gun permanently off the board. 50% damage reduction in total, and 100% if he's nose in. So he's going to elect... He's probably saying to himself, okay, I'm going down now. I better start doing a little bit of damage before we go out here. And at this point in time, we should probably be shooting for citadels, which I think we will get to close out the fight on this guy. But I'm still, I'm digging it. This is what I like to do. This is what I really like, that arena with Legendary where everyone was playing Alaska, because you get these close quarter duels, and it's all about knocking out the turrets. Very fun to play if you can get in the situations to play it. Now, if everyone's sitting in the back, launching, ICBMs from the moon and outer space at you, not going to have a lot of fun. The guns aren't that accurate at range. Eventually you're going to be taking some shots on the top of the ship, which will cause it to get damaged, and it's not that effective. Of course, those games are really boring and not that much fun anyways, but keep that in mind. But if you can get into these close quarter battles, it can be quite a lot of fun to play these type of ships. Looking on the map here, I'm thinking, okay, this game looks pretty good. We've had 2 cap to 1 for the majority of the time. Would like the destroyers kind of sailing around in the middle, right by B over there. Just go ahead and grab that cap. You got, as a destroyer player, you got to be looking for those opportunities. There's nothing between me and the enemy base. Doesn't look like if I go down there, anyone can turn around very quickly and counter me. Might as well go down there. Number 1, get your own score boosted. Number 2, seal the deal, right? If they sink a few ships here, well, we'll still have a lead, because we've had the 2 caps to 1, but we don't want that to get out of control, especially if they're able to flip another cap as the game goes on. And they are pushing aggressively into our home cap with only me and a pair of destroyers really stopping them. Trading off between the Bismarck, Leon, and, we've been sticking with AP the entire time this game. I think I got Dimitri Dewey on here to increase the attack angles. And I believe the ship, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm about 95% certain it's got increased penetration angles to begin with. So even if these targets are angling against us, they have a very narrow window where they're really fully protected from these shots. So again, we're launching, trying to hit the turrets. When we're zooming in on this guy, I'm going to be noticing, okay, he is angling his turrets against us. Now, I can't tell, is he gearing up for a shot on the destroyers, or is he aware of the vulnerability of the flat-fronted French turrets? French battleships, Soviet battleships, they're flat in the front. Very easy to knock out with these guns or battleship guns. Anything that's capable of really knocking them out, they're more susceptible Of course, at a certain point, you can put on the mods that'll help protect your turret faces. I think it might be a tier 1 mod. I don't know. I've never actually equipped it on my ships because I try and angle my turrets, protect them that way. But that's always an option. You got to consider your opponent might be running that as well. But look at that. Every time he's not firing at us, he's turning the turrets about 45 degrees. That's protecting them from knockout damage. Okay, and I believe he's doing it deliberately. I might be wrong. He might be accidentally playing it well, but that's what you would want to do. Okay, so we're going to be, as we're zooming in here, we're just going to keep an eye on him. Can we catch him when we're fully reloaded? Can we get him while he's kind of turning to shoot at us? And if we really wanted to play it to perfection or focus on knocking out the guns at least, we could just hold our fire until he turns the turrets at us like we're doing here. And then we're able to go ahead and knock him out like that. So keep that in mind playing battleships or whatever. If you're trying to defend your turrets, angle them away, point them off to the side while you're reloading, then turn them in. And I guess here's going to be this. I don't know if I got I guess I got a Citadel early on the Crotchlow. I couldn't remember if it was the Leon or Riga. And we got 80,000 damage. Now, sure, that's twice our ship's HP and damage. Aim for the nose there. As he's trying to angle away, we take him out. Not bad. 83,000 damage. Not a huge damage game for cruisers. And I just don't. Maybe I'm just still learning the ship or getting the hang of it. That's definitely a possibility. But in my experience, I don't usually get whoppers. Like, compare this to a Suzuya, for instance. I'm sure the average DPM is, the average damage per match, I should say, is quite dramatic, the difference between them. Of course, the actual damage per minute is quite a bit higher on some of those lighter cruisers. But that said, the ability to kind of protect yourself, the ability to duel those battleships, and most importantly, having the punch, the knockout punch to take those guns out, that's when you can have, number one, a lot of fun with the Riga, and number two, quite a lot of success. So I know my buddy Meta, he's been trying to convince me to play this ship. Like I said earlier, you guys have been praising it a lot on stream lately. We tried it the other day, got dev struck twice, and then the third game we tried it, basically it was like this, just a fun slugfest, close quarters brawl, which I do enjoy. So if that kind of gameplay suits your fancy, I think the Riga, and by the way, the Stalingrad, you guys are always asking me about the Stalingrad. That's just kind of a mega souped up version of the Riga, okay? A little bit stronger in all aspects, but similar playstyle, right? Not the most accurate guns, but very, a slugger type of a bat or a cruiser. So it is what it is. I don't think if I was playing for $1 million, I'd take the Riga out. But if I was playing for fun, it's now in my rotation to suit that bill. So that's a look at the Riga for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.